Hey guys, it's Parag from Bite Size Hacks, and recently Claude Code's source code just got leaked, and that means that now we could run it locally without paying any subscription at all. So in this video, I'm just gonna be going over like a general sense of like how it happened, like everything about it, things like that. And then I'm gonna end it off with a small demo. I'll also put all the sources I used to research this video, as well as all the GitHubs I used to kind of work with demos and stuff in the description below. So if you're interested in that or want to go more deeper into it, make sure you check that out. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. So, essentially, what happened is that a debugging file around 60 megabytes was accidentally included in a public npm update package for the CLI, and this basically allowed people to reconstruct like over 500,000 lines of code. So the first person to actually discover the leaked source code was this guy right here, Fried Rice, and he not only showed his discovery but also posted the source code for anyone to kind of download. So as you guys can see, if I go ahead and click on the code over here, you can see that nothing pops up. That's because a couple of hours after this discovery was posted, Anthropic posted thousands of DMCA requests to like just basically take down all these like leaked codes. But by the time they issued all of these like requests, it was literally far too late. Like they'd spread so much, and although they initially targeted places like GitHub, it had spread so much more to other places, and it was basically impossible to actually get them all taken down. It was basically permanent at that point. On top of that, though, is that people actually took the original TypeScript that the code was written in and translated them to other languages such as Python or Rust. This meant it so that you could argue that it was more of a creative take on Claude Code or something like that. And since it was not technically the exact same code, it was outside the reach for a DMCA takedown. And as a result, Anthropic actually like withdrew like a huge percentage of their like requests. So what's actually inside the Claude Code source code? Like what did people find out about it? So I found this Reddit thread and I'm reading the TLDR right now, and the one that strikes out to me the most is this right here, this dream mode, which is really interesting because um it works like while you're not there, it works overnight, and it could like I guess self-reflect sort of, not too sure. And then also this right here where it says like a buddy game, not too sure what that is. So I found this article that basically explains like what I was wondering a little bit better, and apparently the dream mode is just basically an advanced like memory system that could allow Claude to operate even when like the terminal window is still closed. And this buddy system that I was like totally confused about earlier is actually like something that I think they wanted to add in the future, where it was like a sort of like pet or something across like 18 species, um that would just be in your like command line or something like that. And I think it was just something, it was more of like a cosmetic thing. I'll also link down a couple of GitHubs that basically have the source code, but the one that I'm going to be showing for the demo is actually one written in Rust. So here's the GitHub that I'll be referencing. As you can see, it's an independent open source implementation inspired by Claude Code, but not an official Anthropic product. Um, well, it's basically like Claude Code, but an open source version in Rust. As you can see, it's 93% Rust actually. And so I had my own version, as you could see right here, where I just made one small change. Is that the original GitHub, it actually said that it was you could connect it to any API key you want, but after walking through it with my own Cloud Code subscription, I found out that it was hard coded for to only accept Anthropic API keys. So the one change I made was to basically allow me to use Olama instead. So I have this open on VS Code just because it's what I'm used to. And as you can see, I already kind of tested it out to make sure everything was smooth, but I'll just walk through it again. So the first thing you're going to want to do is download Olama. That's pretty obvious. You could just search it up. And the next thing you're going to want to do is actually go into a terminal and put in this. This will make sure that your Olama is running. It's basically sort of like a server that hosts your AI models that you want to put into this like coding agent. Um, so after that, you're going to want to put in this line right here and this line right here, kind kind of sets so that you're basically running it locally in simple terms. And then this final line right here is basically setting your AI model. This is what's being fed into a llama so that so your code can actually run. For me, I'm using the Qwen 14B, which means there's 14 billion parameters, which is quite low, just because my Mac doesn't really have that much RAM. But if you have more RAM, you could go higher, and you'll find that the higher you go, the more the greater your model is. So for me, with a 14 billion, it's pretty small. So my agent won't really do much. I mean, as you can see, it says like I said hello, and it could say hello. How can I assist you today? But if I go like if I open a file per se and ask it to explain the file or like work with the file, it won't be able to do it because that only has 14 billion parameters. Um, and that's what really sets like Claude and like other like mainstream models apart, is that because they have like maybe like around like a trillion to 2 trillion parameters, which makes them so like easy to use. So a few things to note: that one is completely free offline and private, which is really great. But on the other hand, it is very dependent on how much RAM you have. So if you only have if you don't have that much RAM, then I would advise like not really depending on this as your main coding agent, just because it is very, like as I said before, dependent on your RAM. Other than that, like I think the only other downside is that you kind of have to do those steps every single time you're setting up a new environment or like a new yeah, like a new environment. But that is pretty much it. Honestly, like if you have good RAM, if you're fine like taking that extra like minute to do those steps, then I'd say it's a really great way to have your own local like coding agent. So for me personally, just because I'm not at the level where I have like really important code that I want to keep completely private to myself, or obviously the fact that I don't have like hundreds of RAM just laying around. I mean, I'm working with 20 gigs right here, right? So because of that, like I'm still gonna be using Claude Code Pro, just because it's really great, it's really convenient, and it's still a great product. But obviously, at the end of the day, the choice is yours. I'm just giving my 2 cents and take what you want to do with it. So yeah, that's pretty much the entire like Claude Code source code topic explained. If you really enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe because it really helps out. And thank you. I'll see you in the next one.